Hi, welcome to SBR Forum Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. This is Into the Weekend with Bet DSI, the call we do every Thursday with Brent, the headlines manager at DSI Sportsbook, where he lets us know what betting action he's seen over the past week for the upcoming weekend's betting events. Right now it is December 13th, so we're looking ahead to NFL Week 15 and the start of the bowl season. Brent, thanks for being here once again.
Always good to be on, Peter.
All right, let's start right in with NFL. Bunch of games that I think people are wondering about. The first one, Pitt at Dallas. You know, Pittsburgh got upset outright, which was a huge win for the books last week. I know against San Diego. Now they're going into Dallas. I did notice that line has moved. It opened at Pick'em. Now it's like Pick -2. So I'm assuming that was sharp action early on Pitt.
Well, it was mostly just a whole lot of volume on Pittsburgh. I don't really have a ton of sharp action involved in this game so far, Peter. We do have twice as many bets on Pittsburgh. Our dollar volume is more than twice as much on Pittsburgh as well. You're right, the line, opened to 1 on Dallas and just kind of picked its way back up to. And generally, of course, obviously, you're going from 1 straight to a pick, and then you're 1 on top, and that's where we are right now. And again, the count's 2-1 in favor of Pittsburgh. The volume's 2-1, but sharps really aren't involved so far.
So that early movement had nothing to do with sharp action then?
No, just a whole lot of volume.
Okay, all right. So is that going to be a decision game for you? You're going to wind up probably needing Dallas a bit?
Yeah, no, right now it is. I wouldn't be surprised if people come in on the home dog with Dallas. The thing too is, last week was a big emotional win for Dallas,
right.
And of course they're in a situation where they have to win. But will they avoid the letdown? Who knows?
Right. All right. And then there's 2 games involving teams that are absolutely rolling as modest-sized favorites against decent teams. That's the Niners at Pats and Denver at Baltimore. And Denver, Peyton Manning's been rolling. The defense is playing great. They're only 3-point road favorite. Is that something that the public has been all over?
Well, the count's 2-1 there, so the public has been all over. There's just got a bit of a bigger volume on Denver so far. The only kind of sharp money we had on this was Baltimore +3 minus quarter. But, we got a whole lot of teasers on Denver. People have been backing Denver just ad nauseum. They just don't stop betting Denver. They're kind of like the Patriots now in terms of it doesn't matter where they are or what the situation. You're looking at Denver being a road favorite, which you think maybe is a good spot to take the home team in terms of Baltimore. Baltimore also had a little bit of coaching change there, so maybe there's some more motivation for Flacco to play a little bit better. So it's going to be an interesting game. I'm not saying I'm sharp, but I would definitely be with the sharp money here, taking Baltimore +3.
Okay, so there has been significant sharp action on Baltimore then, or just a little bit?
A little bit of sharp action. There hasn't been a whole bunch of people with a whole bunch of money, but it has been some money that we do respect. Sometimes guys will bet a little bit smaller, but they're sharp nonetheless, and that's the case here with Baltimore. Again, it was +3 minus a quarter where they took Baltimore, and that's the current line we still have, Peter.
Right. Okay. And then how about Niners-Pats? The Pats have been absolutely rolling. They blew out Houston last week, so I'm assuming that they're a big public side here, but maybe not because the Niners are such a great team coming from San Francisco as well.
Yeah, the Niners, they're obviously a decent team, but New England is just, it's going to take I don't know what to have people stop betting on New England, whether it's straight up playing the 5 or 5.5 where we are now, or sticking them in teasers, and they're just going crazy with New England. The most popular teaser with them right now is teasing them like using the 10-point teaser, so you end up getting New England +4.5 and 5, stuff like that. Our count is 2-1 in favor of New England. The money's about 3-1, but it's all public money in terms of the side there. Now, I do have sharp money on this game, and that sharp money came under 48 on the total of that game. Now I've got public money over balancing that off. We're sitting at 46.5 right now, but it's interesting to note the sharps did come in on the under 48 in this game.
Wow, so there's a sharp public split on the total then.
Yeah, and again, public generally New England games they're betting the over no matter what, and that's the case here as well. But it's interesting to note that this time we've actually got some sharp money under at first.
Okay, so let's move on to the rest of the NFL Week 15 card. Are there any sides where you've taken notable sharp action?
Well, an interesting game, of course, is New York Giants at Atlanta. We got Atlanta -1.5 right now at home. We took some sharp money on Atlanta -1, and we have a whole lot of public money on the Giants. Our count is about 3-1 in terms of New York Giants, but our money is about 2-1 in favor of Atlanta, which of course suggests a public sharp split. Sharps are on Atlanta there, and we've also got another split there in terms of the public betting the over. We got a lot of public. Again, this is typical with the Giants games. We always get a lot of public money on the over. In this situation, we have sharp money under 52 and under 51.5 in the Giants-Atlanta game.
Wow, that's a little bit surprising. You have the Giants are playing an 11-2 team that's at home, and that's a near pick'em line. I would expect that the public would be all over the home team in that one, right?
Yeah, but you've got Atlanta, who's in a situation where they've clinched the division and basically have seeding to play for. Whereas the situation with the Giants is a little more tough. I mean, if they're 8-5, you got Washington and Dallas at 7-6 right behind. So maybe the public is thinking the Giants have a little bit more to play for. And of course, Atlanta laid an egg last week at Carolina. So you're probably thinking in terms of the Sharps that they're going to bounce back on, and that's why they're taking Atlanta. But Atlanta may not have as much to play for in terms of playoff seeding or whatever, but the motivation is definitely there to win, of course, and that doesn't stop no matter what point in the season we are.
Okay, are there any other sharp sides you want to discuss with us?
Yeah, Minnesota's a sharp side. I've got Minnesota sharp action +3 -120 is where that came in. Now the line St. Louis -2.5 right now. We got the Rams at home as a favorite there. The count favors Minnesota about 2-1. The money's in favor of Minnesota, and the money we've got on St. Louis has been a couple of big bets, but not necessarily sharp stuff. But a definitely sharp bet on Minnesota again. That was +3 -120. A couple of guys who respect a lot. Before we pass NFL, I also want to touch on the Washington game at Cleveland, just to let your viewers and listeners know. Right now, if RG plays, you're probably looking at Washington being a road favorite about 1.5 or 1, right. And if he doesn't go, you're looking at the Browns being a home favorite about 3 points.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that if Cousins is the quarterback and the Skins are getting 3 points, I think that'd be a decent bet.
Yeah, but actually Cleveland's got a pretty decent defense, so it's interesting. I mean, Cousins hasn't had a whole lot of exposure. He's looked okay so far in his regular season games. Preseason, he looked really, really good, but who knows really.
Okay, and are there any other sharp sides or totals that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, well, I've got a public sharp split here with one of the uglier games of the week is Seattle at Buffalo, and they're playing in Toronto that game there. Buffalo is a 5.5-point dog right now, and the sharp money we took is on Buffalo plus 5.5, but the count is about 3-1 in favor of the Seattle Seahawks. The money's still about 2-1 in their favor, so it's not like Buffalo has a home field advantage. It's more of a neutral site game, right. And the public's been all over Seattle. Minus 5.5 right now. Sharps taking the plus 5.5. And I've got another split in terms of the total where, again, you got the Colts and Texans game public. Typically still betting Colts games over, but I have sharp money under 48.5 there. That's Indianapolis Colts at Houston. Houston's favored by 9. The total is 48. We're down to 48. The sharp money came in under 48.5, but the public is betting the over there.
All right, okay. And are there any big public sides that you don't necessarily have sharp action on the other side with, but that are going to be a big need for you?
Well, no, not really. I mean, we touched on New England. That's the biggest one so far. Popular teaser teams right now are the Saints, of course. Actually, Minnesota's a popular teaser team, and Denver we touched on. Seattle we touched on. Detroit. Detroit's a teaser team, of course.
All right, thanks for all that great info, Brent. Now let's move on to college. The bowl season is starting this Saturday. Have you gotten any significant or notable action on these two upcoming bowl games on Saturday, and how's the general volume been?
Volume's been pretty good. I mean, the lot of line movement early on the big games, of course, but the game on Saturday, the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, I think they're calling it, Toledo at Utah versus Utah State. Utah State's a 10.5-point favorite. We have sharp money both ways there, actually, on that game. We've got sharp money on Utah State minus 10. We took sharp money back plus 11 on Toledo, so we're sitting at 10.5 right now, of course. That's pretty much close in terms of the count and everything. Interesting game where the sharps are really decided is Nevada. They're playing against Arizona. That's the New Mexico Bowl. That's the early game on Saturday. Sharps are all over Nevada plus 10.
Really?
They took it plus 10. They bought it when it was 9.5. They bought it to plus 10. Every sharp who could bet it, bet Nevada plus 10 there, so that might be something to look out for.
Really? Every sharp account that you have took Nevada plus 10.
And like I said, even when we were down to 9.5, they're buying the half point to plus the 10. We're sitting at Arizona minus 9 right now. Total is 77, and we've got actually divided money on the total there. We got people going both ways in terms of sharp action. Over, I took over money 76 and under 77. We're sitting at 77 right now.
Wow. Okay. I know it's very early in the bowl season, and so a lot of action, especially on the later games, is yet to come. But have you gotten any notable action on any bowl so far?
Yeah, the Outback Bowl, which is January 1st. This is a game where everyone's been on South Carolina. Just a ton of sharp money. They've been betting South Carolina minus 3, minus 15. They bet South Carolina minus 4. We're all the way up to minus 5, and now 5.5 right now. We're one of the few books at 5.5. There's lots of them out there at minus 5 still, but we've absolutely got nothing back on Michigan, and that's a game where the sharps are just pounded South Carolina, and there's no one that seems to like the Wolverines at this game. So I know it's early, but that's one of those games that really, really stand out. Now, if the line goes up to 6.5, you might see sharps come back on Michigan, maybe buying the half point, getting it to 7 or whatever. But at this point, it's been just South Carolina all the way, Peter.
All right, thanks so much once again. Another great call, Brent from Bet DSI, and we will talk to you again next week.
All right, Peter.